evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a few things on our agenda this evening, but prior to starting our planning meeting this evening, we were in camera earlier, so I would ask for a resolution to please come out of camera.
Resolved that as per section 152.4, the Municipal Act, Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements does now resume sitting of regular meeting.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Forbes, Councillor Bezrowicz seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. I will now ask our planning assistant, Kayla, to read the process for this evening's meeting. And if you would, Kayla, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Council wishes to thank you for taking an interest in what is happening in your municipality by attending this evening.
Recording in progress.
The purpose of these public hearings is to receive representations from the applicant as well as any persons who wish to make representation on what is being proposed. We will first hear from the applicant and then from those present who wish to make representation. This will start with anyone who would like to speak in favor of the proposal, followed by those who are opposed to or object to the proposal. At the end of these other presentations, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond. Outside the council chamber, you'll find sign-in sheets for tonight's public hearing applications. If anyone intends to make a presentation for any of the hearings scheduled, including the applicants, please record the necessary contact information on the appropriate sign-in sheet. If you've not signed in, please do so now. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker on any fact or issue, but will not enter into a debate. At your opportunity to speak, please begin by stating your full name and address for the record. Persons speaking must address the chair. If they have questions that they think the applicant should answer, they should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to questions when the other presentations are finished. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Kayla. And now our CAO has something that he would like to share with the audience this evening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our first application, which is conditional use 18 of 2025, as part of this application, there was a minor error in part of the advertisement that was corrected immediately when discovered, and in discussions with our planning, Red River Planning, we felt that it wasn't significant to hold up anything, as what it was that it had identified the proper date and location of the meeting and so forth, but it didn't specify 6 p.m. It said time. Once we discovered it, we corrected it immediately. All the individuals within the radius that were needed to be notified hand-delivered notes were left with them notifying the time. The paper was corrected, that was posted on the site, as well as we updated our website. Considering that the RM of St. Clements has always held their meetings at 6 p.m. on the planning dates, we didn't feel that there was any issues with that and are moving forward with this application. The application did meet and does meet all the requirements for advertising as part of this application.
Thank you for that. Okay, so with that, we will start our planning items for this evening, and the first item we have is conditional use number 18 of 2025, and we have to move into a conditional use board, so if I can have a resolution, please.
Resolve the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for conditional use 18 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And carried. And I will now turn it over to our planner to walk us through this application, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Share my screen.
I should stop sharing now. Are you going to share it out?
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Okay, this is a conditional use application number CU 18/2025, located on the corner of Keystone Road and Henry Mayhew Drive. And the purpose of that application is to establish a drive-through restaurant in CH Commercial Highway Zone. As per zoning bylaw of St. Clements, Restaurants drive-through are conditional, so this is closed. Here we can see the location map of the subject property and applicant site plan. You can see here the future restaurant and parking surrounding. Conditions for approval. Should council wish to approve this application, directly recommends the following conditions. This conditional use is limited to what is presented in this application, and if there are changes will require replacement or additions. Any further changes, replacements, or additions would require approval. Applicant in order to obtain all required license and/or permits with our realm of San Clemente, including but not limited to new and/or renewal of municipal business licenses or license, and an applicant in order to obtain all required permits from Red Bull Planning District and municipality if required. Applicant only to enter into development agreement with our realm of San Clemente, including but not limited to landscaping, fencing, building design, parking requirements, drainage, and construction requirements too. Applicant only to work with the administration of our realm and the Department of Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation to get the correct permitting in order to facilitate the development of the commercial lands to create 2 access points according to the site plan. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that I have here.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions to the planner from members of council? Okay, so the normal process for these applications is I will call the applicant up next, then I will call those who are in favor of the application. I will call those that are opposed to the application, and then I will call those in case they decide they want to say something, who have indicated they are here for information only. So with that, I would like to call the applicant up, please, and you can make your presentation. And if you want to just come to the podium tonight, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Borough Council. We appreciate the opportunity to come and present the Kitson Plaza, or a development, commercial development here in our community. Our plan is to develop this commercial site, which has been sitting vacant for a number of years, into a community gathering hub, which will include the services which are much needed in this community, from a coffee shop to other services we are looking for to develop in this site. Today we are here to request a conditional use approval from council to get a drive-through service restaurant, which will allow us to bring some national brands into the communities, so we can increase the services and job opportunity and other entrepreneurship into the town. Just to quickly like to present this to the second sheet of this one. Our goal here as a developer, we want to bring economic activities to the town. Also, the people who want to do business here. So these, as we develop this land, we will welcome open-armedly to them to come and connect with us to open their own business, and if they want to go into any of the community primary services, we will welcome them. And our goal is to partner with not only the department, also with the community, to provide you the best services possible. And our commitment to the community is to bring A-level services and take this community into the next level, so that your services are here, so you don't have to drive 20 minutes to the city to get smaller things, even small grocery items there. So my request, Madam Mayor, is to get this conditional use approval and getting support from the rest of the council and community to get this project into the next stage.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'm going to ask if council has any questions that they would like to ask you at this point in time, if you're finished your presentation. And also, at the end, after we hear everybody, you will have the opportunity to close off if there's questions that you can answer from the people in the audience. Then you will have that opportunity also.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
The developer had asked us to present his PowerPoint. Did you want to walk through all the rest of the other slides, or?
I think
We can
we
just-
will,
we can-
in the rest of the slides, which shows, we had an open house a couple weeks ago in the community to show community what's our view or vision is. Maybe it's a good idea to show the folks who were not at that open house to see what we are looking at from the perspective of where this location going to be and what services we are looking for to go into this development.
Next one.
So our first and foremost goal is to bring some services ability for folks who are lives in the community, from the representation of a small gas station and service station perspective, as well as a coffee shop. Hopefully, we are trying to entice a national brand coffee shop here. With that, it will bring a density to the site. Kind of the next slide. And one more, please. Yeah. So what our goal is to bring the community some primary services, like from a doctor's office, a pharmacy, if we can bring a physiotherapist or dentist, to bring those kind of tenants into this community where we needed these services. Either you have to go to the Selkirk or to the city. We want those services to be here. And also a sit-down restaurant, hopefully a 75-seater or more on the very left you see, to bring into this plaza. So coffee shop is the kind of anchor tenant, and gas station is where it will bring the hopefully traffic into it. The rest of the services which are focused on the primary care, as well as the primary services which are much needed, from a grocery store to a sandwich shop, doctor's offices, and a restaurant which can have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a family sit-down sort of place. That's what our goal is. And again, these businesses are lands our opportunity for all the folks for the community. If somebody want to open a restaurant, kindly reach out to us. We will happy to work with any community entrepreneur. And from all these services, from left to right, every single of them would be available as an opportunity for a local member if somebody is interested in running the gas station to maybe connecting them with a Tim Hortons corporate and so on. So we want to be the vehicle to kickstart this progress in this town, and hopefully we can do right justice and we can fulfill all the people what they need, as well as do right by the community.
Okay, thank you for that. If you have nothing else to add at this point in time, and as I said, you will have an opportunity at the end if there are questions that you can answer. And again, I'll ask council if there are any questions for the developer at this point in time. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I would just like that, from your presentation, you had an open house, you mentioned,
Yes,
and how many people did you have show up at it?
it's about 35 people showed up.
And it went out, the flyers went out to the amount,
Exactly, it's flat went to about 200 people, I think, overall, all the families around this area who were in East Selkirk. So a number of people showed up, so it was positive, and it was a good community approach. That's where I learned as well, where the community entrepreneurs want to do things here, and so I want to extend my help and assistance to them if they needed to connect with any of these corporate or any stores they want to do.
thank you for the information.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead, oh, sorry, Rob.
No, I was just going to make a comment that I do believe the flyers that, or the notifications that went out above and beyond that what was required. So a lot of people did get, and 40 showed up. So that's good news.
Thank you. Okay, I'm now going to go to my list, and I will start with the people who are in support or in favor of this application. And the first name I have is Allison Breger. Are you in the audience this evening? Okay.
Yes, I think so.
I'm attending virtual
Okay.
right now.
All right, if you want to go ahead and do your presentation, Allison, that would be great.
Sure. I've been working with the developer on this proposal and moving the conditional use forward. I was at the open house and I received a lot of feedback and input from some of the individuals who live around there in support of and indicating that there was a need for this type of development and expressing that they really hope that it goes forward.
Okay, anything else you want to add, Allison?
No, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or any information that I can provide, that let me know.
Okay, thank you for that.
I'm sharing the screen, but we lost the screen, Allison. That's why we're looking here just to see what happened.
It says internet connection lost on our screen.
It's back.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so apologize for that, Madam Mayor. Maybe if I could put forward a question for the planner.
Sure, go right ahead.
The request to build all these are the developer sharing this, but this application is specifically for one thing only, which is to drive through, not for the approval of the development itself.
I would love to answer that question like that. Specific condition was processed by RM, Sue, so appreciate.
Sue, if you could come forward, please. So I just want for some clarity that this is an application for a drive-through, that the application itself, the lands themselves already have the right to do all these developments in there?
Yes, that is correct. This property had been redesignated to commercial some time ago when the subdivision first went in. This application is particularly for and only for the drive-through part of the operation. All of these other types of uses are permitted in accordance with our zoning bylaw. There also was a development agreement with the developer that developed the whole property, including the residential land. And in that development agreement, it did state that uses that council wanted to see at that time on that type of property, on a commercial property. So they did suggest things to put in the development agreement and conditions in the development agreement that the developer will have to abide by.
So the developer at the time, had they identified the drive-through as one of the requirements that were approved through a public hearing process?
Yes, that's correct. They did identify the drive-through. The issue is the development agreement doesn't trump the zoning bylaw. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but the zoning bylaw states that a drive-through is conditional use, and therefore the zoning bylaw stands as compared to the development agreement.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to move on. The next name I have on my list is Alan Klippenstein, and I'm not sure that he is here this evening.
I don't see him
No, I don't see
signed up,
him
so
either.
we'll just receive, he sent a letter of support.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, he did send in a letter of support. He was hoping to be on the Zoom today. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, but there is a letter of support sent by Alan.
okay, so there are some other letters of support that we have received at the office here. There is one from Jared Boyd. And I'm just going to go through these so I don't mix the names up. Bruno Knoll. Lisa Nordic. And Celine Bayless. And the last one I have is from Schenko Properties. And those are all letters in support that were received in the office, and we do have them as council on our dockets for this evening. Okay, I will now move to the ones that are showing as opposed to this application on my list. And the first one I have is James Martin and Lisa Del Grasso. Are they in the audience this evening? Do you want to just come forward and state your name and location for the record, please?
I'm Lisa Del Grasso. I'm at 18 Harry Weediak.
Harry Waychuk.
Harry, yeah, I call it Harry Weediak.
Oh.
Yeah. Everyone says it differently. So we're opposing due to the fact that it's too much traffic. There in our area, we have, I counted today, 27 kids. So where the access point to get into this is literally into the residential area, which right across from that access point, there's 3 little kids out there. So right now, like, you can go up there, everyone's outside playing. There are so many kids daily outside on their bikes, ranging from like newborns all the way to 13 years old. So we're kind of opposing it, because just the traffic, the amount of people that are going to be coming in and out for a drive-through. So it's like everyone going to the cabin, coming home from the cabin. It's also going to take away from the ice rink that also sells coffee and has a really good canteen, as well as the baseball field. So they also right now, like it's a small business, they sell ice cream, burgers, all that kind of stuff. So with the drive-through, it's just going to be more traffic, more people. And I don't know, like Tim Hortons, you get away from the city. And Tim Hortons is 6 minutes away, there's 2 of them. It's like 6 to 10 minutes away from us. So that's what was it.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, the next name I have on my list is Andy Lawson and Angela Chapman. Are either of them in the audience? You want to just come forward and state your name and your location, please?
Andy Lawson. I'm at 1930 Waychuk Drive.
Okay.
And I also oppose it for pretty much exactly the same reasons as Lisa. There's going to be too much traffic in the area. I have 3 small kids, which is that they ride their bikes. It's already dangerous enough for them to cross this road, get into the school. There's no crosswalks. So having the increased traffic, increased cars coming into our development, like that puts risk for my kids and everyone else's kids in our development. So that's one of the main reasons I oppose this.
Okay, anything else?
That's what.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I have 2 or 3 people actually that have noted that they're for information, but I will ask them if they've have anything that they want to add at this point. And the first name I have is Eric Sokolowski. Is there anything you wanted to add, Eric, or you had jotted down here for information?
I opposed it.
Oh, okay. So come forward then and let us know why the opposition.
Yeah, my name is Eric Sokolowski. I live at 32 Harry Waychuk Drive. I guess I didn't have enough information about what's going in there necessarily. So I wanted information too, but I guess with the amount of traffic that's going to be going through, I was concerned about our area there. I guess also the pollution. I didn't know there was going to be a gas station going in there. I think there's well documented evidence that living within 1,000 feet of a gas station is not too healthy in the long term, depending on the prevailing winds and things like that. as far as the drive-through, I guess I'm opposed to it right now because I didn't have enough information. And I'm just curious, would the RM be doing, like, for people that want to walk from here to go to Tim Hortons or something like that, are they going to make it easier to walk? Because it's very narrow there. Yeah, so that's one of the questions I have. Is it going to be, or are people going to want to drive there? They live right maybe around here somewhere, they're just going to drive over there or something.
I'm going to turn it over to our CAO. He may be able to address it a little bit better.
Like, was there any plans to besides the two entrances to the development, is there anything else along the side of the roads here or anything, or?
Council has asked the administration to go and explore and work towards much more of a walkable community, and we're looking at building in sidewalks and traffic improvements throughout Cloville, the turn in the corner, as well as dealing with some of these issues. There are some paths built, but not enough, and you're correct. And as part of, as traffic begins to get increases, there will be a need to do some level of safety considerations as part of that. And that becomes part of the responsibility of the RM. Working with, in this case, also the province of Manitoba, because some parts of that road infrastructure is the responsibility of the province of Manitoba. It is a provincial road.
Okay. Was there any thought given to, as far as parking with larger vehicles, you know, with semis that might want to come and stop by, or?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
Well, as far as stopping for Tim Hortons or something like that, where are the larger trucks going to be? Is there going to be any accommodation for that anywhere along 2 Mile Road, or?
I think the intent is for, depending on that they've designed the commercial to accommodate the traffic that's coming in there. And part of the last recommendation is there, that was presented as part of this report. It says for the RM to work with the developer and the province of Manitoba to make sure that that second access, and it deals with all these types of traffic related issues. And so a traffic study would probably be part of that analysis. So at this point, it's an approval for conditional use. So I think what needs to be clearly understood is Tim Hortons without a drive-through, or a gas station, or any of these offices, or the grocery store are all allowed under the zoning bylaw, and that was approved many years ago when the subdivision was originally created, and that's why the lands were always designated, and the sign was always up there showing it as commercial lands. So those are outright rights. So there is no approval necessary needed from the RM for that. So the approval is specifically related because the zoning bylaw says that all drive-throughs require a conditional use.
I guess some of the other things would be, is it going to be a 24-hour, or is it going to be, like in Selkirk, one of them is open from 5 till 11 o'clock and runs open 24 hours. So I just don't see a need for a Tim Hortons out here, really. But we have two in Selkirk, it's a 4-minute drive, so.
Appreciate your opinion, and I can't comment on that.
Unless we get a discount.
You say yes.
The developer might be able to kind of speak to us to the hours of operation. So.
I think it's in the application.
It is, what would the hours of operation?
6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, the next name I have on the list here is Tyler Zacharias. Are you in the audience this evening?
Yeah, I am. My name is Tyler. I just moved here about a year ago. Saw that when I purchased into the development in Waitchek Estates, that it was zoned commercial, so I knew that something would be going there. I oppose a drive-through, especially if your access points, I would have assumed they would come off, you'd have two off the provincial, but you have one off Harry Waitchuk, is that correct?
Correct.
So my question would be, why? Why would you route traffic into a residential area? Just seems unnecessary, but I'm not a city planner. Other than that, yeah, like these people mentioned, to our surprise, there was, I'd say, that median age of people who own houses and homes in that neighborhood, you know, probably 30, mid-30s, and it's stocked full of kids and families, newborns. So for the foreseeable future, there's going to be a lot of children maybe not aware of that kind of heavy traffic just outside their house. And I think it's just a recipe for disaster or tragedy. So if it was access points strictly off 2 Mile Road or the main, is it Kitson? If you had strictly access points in there and none of the traffic could access Harry Waitchuk Drive, I think I would be more comfortable with it, but I maintain that I do oppose a directive.
Thank you. Okay, I have one more name on my list here, Dallas Baker.
I pretty much speak to the same thing Tyler just said. I'm Dallas Baker. I live at 12 Catherine Waitchuk Hope. So I, again, have small children as well, and I would hope that maybe this question's kind of like slated to the developer, that I don't really oppose this, and it's going through anyways. I know that that's what's going to go on, but what I'd like the developer to know is that we do have children that will be playing in these areas, and I think it's a huge deal to us, and that's why we moved out here, is to get away from like city life. And so bringing that in and bringing the heavy flow of traffic in when there's kids playing all over the place, that's our main concern. So I'm not here to oppose bringing stuff in, because yeah, I think it's great for the community, like you said. It's you know, you get a doctor's office, whatever, all these different things. But I think the big thing is what I want the developer to know is that work with us, because you say you want to be part of the community and you want to do all these things. Work with us to get those access points away from the children, right? So if I could say anything, that's my concern, and everything that Tyler kind of spoke to is my field as well. So that's pretty much everything. Secondly, I back on to the back of this this commercial thing, and I know in the pictures it looks real pretty. It's got trees and all that kind of stuff, but I'm guessing that's not what it's going to look like from the back of my deck when I stare out. Like when I picked this lot, I looked out and said, oh, this is beautiful. I'm looking out into the abyss. There's nothing behind me. It's great. I knew there was going to be something. But again, to the developer, can we not like look at making these things beautiful? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to see like a 12-foot like cement wall, and now I can't see out past like, you know, anything. So that would be another concern, like garbage flying into my yard, all that kind of stuff like that. So some way to kind of keep it, you know, looking like a residential area still, and not like you know, I'm looking at a 12-foot cement barricade that now I can't look out and have the views that I bought for, kind of thing. So those would be my major concerns.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I do not have any more names on my list, but I know that there's still quite a few people in the audience, and I'm not sure who is here for which application, because we do have 4 or 5 more applications this evening. So I am going to ask if there's anybody else whose name I did not call, if they would like to come forward and speak on conditional use 18 of 2025. Do you want to just come forward and state your name for the record, please?
I am Gabrielle Mathis, and I live at 20 Harry Waitchuk.
I don't have children, but I play with a lot of the children in the neighborhood, so I do think that a drive-through would bring more traffic through. Obviously, we've talked about the entry points, and that's not part of this, but my other thought is, I don't know if you have ever been in a lineup in a drive-through in Winnipeg, and someone finishes their coffee or has their coffee from before, and they just throw it out the window. Where I think if someone has to walk up to a restaurant, there is a garbage there, and people are hopefully more likely to use a garbage. I think the thing that angers me the most at a Winnipeg drive-through is they'll take off the straw wrapper. It's this big when you bundle it up, just put it in your cup holder, but people don't do that, they just throw it out the window. So that's my concern that hasn't been brought up by anyone else for a drive-through. Yeah,
Thank you for that. Okay, I'll give everyone else one more chance if there's anybody who wishes to speak on this. Now I'm going to ask the applicant if he wishes to address any of the points that were brought up from some of the presenters.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. We will, as per our commitment to the community is and to the ARM, we will work with ARM for all the guidelines they will provide were provided to us during the development agreement. We are committed to go through and follow through them, as well as we engage into the community. We want to build something which we want to be proud of it as well. So we don't want to build, I want to make sure, talk to the gentleman, we don't want to build something, a 12-foot wall on somebody's front of somebody's house to hide all their views. We love the countryside as well. And the services, as I said earlier, the services we are looking for, we want to enhance this community. Definitely, we all have children as well, so we're conscious about the fact as well, and we will work alongside with MI, RM, and RRPD to resolve any issues if there arises.
Okay. I think our CAO has some questions or comments, so I'm going to turn over to Deepak.
I just wanted to address, because there were some questions that I think were brought up from the community that just weren't answered, so I want to make sure that they get answered. One is, you're submitting architectural design pictures of representing what you're building, so they are as close to what you're looking at presenting and as close to the design that you are creating for this. So there was a question whether, what was presented was not what's going to be constructed, but what you're presenting is what you're looking at constructing. Okay, so the next, I think, was a question regarding addressing access points. So the one was on the design elements, and so I think you'll work with the RM on some of those other requirements for the design elements as part of this. But one of the other points was the access points. I just want to clarify what happened and why there's an additional resolution as part of this application. One was the access from Harry Waychuk Drive was initiated by the province of Manitoba when the original subdivision was first created. So as part of this, the developer has identified that they would want to work with the province of Manitoba and the RM to look at 2 access points and 1 access point off of 2 Mile Road. And if at all possible, I think the developer would prefer an access point off of Kittison than Harry Waychuk himself. So there's an opportunity for the community to also work with the developer when the RM goes to the province of Manitoba, who are the approving authority on accesses, to make sure that some of these concerns that the community has highlighted are also shared with the province of Manitoba to see if there can be any adjustment to that access. Because from my understanding, and I just want to clarify on the public record, that I think the developer wants to come off of Kittison as opposed to Harry Waychuk.
Exactly, it's much more easier to get from the provincial road into the development as well as out egress and outside from there. And it will be preferred for us, but it was the province of Manitoba had given that only access from the Harry Waychuk Drive at this point.
Yes, and so we received a a letter, as part of the application process, there's a circulation that goes out to all the government agencies. Whenever there's a conditional use or a subdivision, in this case, the subdivision was approved a long time ago. The conditional use, because of the drive-through, went back to the province of Manitoba, and that's where they said they will require a review and want to have some discussions, and they're willing to look at 2 Mile Road. And what we're hoping to do is also be able to convince them that there's a better access than what was originally approved. And that's the intent here. The province always also, and I'm on the record, also is very clear about working with the community. So if you give the developer your support on looking at a new location, that should also help. Obviously, they're going to apply engineering practices to this, and the developer will take his engineer to that discussion. But the RM themselves would also like to have better access and safety purposes. And I think the last one I had was that there was garbage and the location of bins and looking at that site from other properties. I think 2 things should be noted in this property is that I think we need to note that there is a park area behind. So a good section of where the drive-through was selected is always going to remain as a park. That's a public reserve, so no development can occur there. Now, obviously, some design elements can be put in there in the future to help shield the commercial from the residential through the park area. Now, there are some people that are right beside it on the closer to Harry Waychuck Drive, and unfortunately, that's a design element. But on the garbage, I wanted to make sure that it was clearly understood that the garbage bins and all that is part of the permitting process. And there's always a requirement for making sure that they're concealed and those kinds of things as part of that.
It was more about like debris flying like into our properties, like more than just where the garbage cans are located, but like debris that's going to come from this big,
And I appreciate that, and that's something we'd have to take into consideration, but it's something that we can't control through a development approval process, but it's something that's definitely a viable point. But I think I think it was yourself or one of you two said that you didn't want to just look at blank walls and so forth. So that was my point with garbage cans and so forth. All that is concealed appropriately.
Thank you.
Can you pull up the map? I know you said on this one, but I'd like to show the residents where that park is that you spoke of.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So if we bring up the map and I'm going to go on location here. So this is called, if you see the stuff in the red, that is highway traffic control zones. That means the province of Manitoba has a big say in any kind of access into those. So that's why there's additional work that's needed. When we turn those off, here is the property. And if you see this whole area here that I select, that's all selected here, all this area that's highlighted, going through here and everywhere else, that's all considered public reserve and parkland, park purposes.
And when is that being developed? Like, I know this isn't the hearing for it, but is that slated to be developed into parkland? Because right now it's just farmer field, right?
I think the developers lived up to his obligations there. I'm not sure if there was some additional requirements. Do you know if there was some additional requirements for the development agreement?
There's nothing additional in regards to parklands, but yes, correct, it is public reserve. That means it's there for all to enjoy, residents. It could be something that could be considered or requested. But in the development agreement of the previous subdivision, there is requirements already about landscaping, fencing, all those things that council built into the previous development agreement that's registered on this title. We also,
for the commercial lands.
For the commercial lands. We are also going to enter into a development agreement with the developer, and, you know, maybe some suggestions can be made, you know, to try decide to develop something small, you're gonna have a fence there and kids will be protected behind it. To have that space, that's wonderful, actually.
Yeah, because right now, like, it's just like, we say it's like for everyone to enjoy, but I can't enjoy it because it's just canola, like it's stalks of canola that are this high, like knee high, it never gets cut. So it's more of an eyesore than it is a public reserve right now, like, and that's when I looked at the initial stuff, and I know this isn't the hearing for it, but when I looked at that initial board when I moved in, I thought, oh great, a park is gonna be behind me, because our kids cannot get across that highway, like you cannot send them, okay guys, go across the highway now, like that is dangerous for them to go, so we were hoping that that's what would happen to that, it would become like a walking paths and trees and like, stuff like that, and maybe a park for our children to play at, so.
Just one last comment. So the subdivision hasn't been completely taken over yet by the ORM. They're in their third phase.
Right.
So at this particular time, until the development is finished, is there a responsibility with regards to the public reserve?
And so let me clarify here, and I'm sorry this is outside the.
Yeah, that's fine,
process.
but it's going to give the residents of the area a little bit more information as to what could be in the future.
Okay, so this is a subdivision and it's under the control of the developer until the developer signs off on the subdivision to the municipality, like in everywhere else. When that's done, and the developers lived up to all their obligations, then there's opportunities for the community to come forward and for the municipality to take a look at the lands that they have. The municipality receives public reserves for various purposes. One is for parks. Sometimes there are passive parks, just as land available. Sometimes there are more active parks, and that depends on the community and the usage around that. And sometimes it's just for protection purposes as public reserves. So the municipality will receive park identified as public reserve to protect riparian zones by rivers and streams and so forth. So it depends on the purpose. This one was intended to be somewhat of a park for those types of purposes. So once it's handed over, there will be also opportunities for the community to come forward, as the RM does on a yearly basis, plan out their recreation planning. And so there'll be an opportunity for that, as well as there was a question asked earlier about paths. That's already been directed by council, and council has already established a tax incentive financing zone in this area. So as new development, as council recognized new development has been occurring here, a portion of those tax dollars is being put aside to do improvements for transportation, active transportation, parkland, all those kinds of things that the community benefits from as it grows. So that was specifically done 2 years ago, and that kitty is being built up to be able to do just what you're talking about.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, anything else that you wanted to add?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more quick question? Just in the picture with all the trees, like you said that it looks all nice with the trees and all that kind of stuff, like.
Yes.
Kind of like
this one?
how that looks. He said that like that's kind of what it's gonna look like. I went to the thing on Monday and they said all they have to do is put up a 6-foot fence that you can't see through and there's no trees. So I am literally right next door to this, so I have a 5-foot fence that you can't see through, like I can't 1 foot higher. Like, is that what's actually going there is a 6-foot fence? Like, it's not very.
I believe that's the maximum height with regards to the zoning bylaw, is a 6-foot height on a rear property.
So is there also plans to have trees to, like, if it looks like that, it would be a lot nicer if all those big trees were there?
Yes, I really can't remember what was in the previous development agreement. I did see fences and those types of things, but landscaping will be taken into consideration. I believe if you see a site plan, there is some trees and things on that. We'll move further on that, trying to have some coverage on the properties. But we had mentioned in the conditions of the development agreement to address such things, but not limited to landscaping. So that is a condition that was read out earlier.
Okay, I think that will close this one off for this evening, and thank you very much, and thank everyone for presenting this evening. And if council is ready to proceed, I will ask for a resolution to close the public hearing on this conditional use application, please.
Open, so, resolved that the public hearing for conditional use 18 of 2025 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. And before we move this one to a resolution, I just want to say this meeting is being recorded. I didn't say that at the beginning, so if you think you missed something or you want to look back and see what was said, you can go on YouTube or on our website and view the whole meeting. So with that, if we are going, if the council is ready to deal with this application, I will ask that the resolution be brought forward, please.
Madam Mayor, whereas the applicant owner of tax roll number 425026, a property legally described as Lot 1, Block 4, Plan 59304, and located at Harry Waychuk Drive, has made application for conditional use 18 of 2025 in order to allow a drive-through restaurant in the CH Commercial Highway Zone. Therefore, be it resolved, conditional use application 18 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions: that this conditional use is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require new approval. 2, the applicant owner obtain all required licenses and or permits with the Arma St. Clements, including but not limited to new and or renewal of the municipal business licenses. 3, the applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. And 4, applicant owner to enter into a development agreement with the Arma St. Clements to address items including but not limited to, if required, drainage and construction requirements, parking requirements, building design, fencing, landscaping. And finally, approval shall expire if not acted upon within, sorry, there was one more in here.
No, there is one.
Yeah. So one more that was added in here, and I will get that from the report. And 5, applicant owner work with the administration of the RM and the Department of Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation to get the correct permitting in order to facilitate the development of the commercial lands to create 2 access points according to the site plan. And lastly, approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of the date of making.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Bazarowicz. Any questions from council? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Madam Chair, I think we have a resolution for speed control as well on, for this particular
For
area.
this particular area?
That would assist in a lot of what we've been talking about.
Okay, can we bring that forward kind of at the end of the meeting, or do you want to do it now?
If council wishes, they can bring it forward now since we're here.
Okay, then bring it forward. Do you have it there?
You have it, councillor? I have it. Whereas the Council of the Rural Municipality of St. Clements passed a resolution on April 26, 2016, and whereas one of the main concerns brought forward by the residents in 2016 was the speed on Kittison Road, and whereas due to increased residential and commercial development in East Selkirk, being in close proximity to Happy Thought School, East Selkirk Middle School, and East Selkirk Arena will cause greater traffic on PR 212, and whereas administration has followed up several times with Manitoba Infrastructure and transportation since the adoption of the resolution. And whereas it is deemed a necessity for the safety of traffic and well-being of residents, and therefore be it resolved, council is requesting to extend the existing 50-kilometer speed zone on PR 212 easterly to path 59, or PTH 59, and further be it resolved, the administration work with Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation to change the speed limit to 50 kilometers from 70 kilometers on PR 212.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Purvis, second, please. Councillor Strang, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, moving on our agenda, we are now down to 13.6, and those are the variations. And the first one we have is, variation 45 of 2025, Bovio and Reimer.
Variation 45?
Yes.
Yes, resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 45 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds, all in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the planner to walk us through this application.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Should I continue online or?
Oh, no, Deepak will switch you over so you can use your clicker.
Okay, I don't think there's Allison, are you going to stay on for the rest of it? If you are, then yes. Yeah, so you'll have to continue on online, yes, because she's here for another one, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
I'm
let
going to
me,
share my screen then?
yes. Okay, let me stop my share. Oh, there you go.
Okay, thank you. So this is a variance application, BO 45 2025, located on 37146 Road to 101 North. And the purpose of that application is to construct an accessory building prior to constructing a principal residence, to reduce the front yard setback to 15 feet for an accessory building, and to increase the unit area to 864 square feet for an accessory building in order to build a garage in SR season residential zone. As I mentioned before, first, Santoma's zoning law front yard permitted is 30 feet and they're proposing 15. Maximum unit area is 800 square feet and they're proposing 864. And the construction of accessory structure before the principal building constructed is not permitted, and they ask it to be permitted. Here we can see your application map and applicant site plan with a proposed garage on the property. Conditions of approval. Should council wish to approve this application, the RPD recommends our following standard condition: that this variance ability to what is being presented, and any changes will require new variance approval, and by applicant to obtain the owner to obtain all required permits from RPD and municipality too. Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions from council to the planner? Okay, is the applicant in the audience? Do you want to come forward if you have anything to add?
Yes. I'm basically just here to answer the questions if we have any, and I have two lots side by side in that corner, and there's no access to the lot where the garage is going, and both lots put together are just a little bit less than 0.6 of an acre, so there wasn't really much room on the first lot to have a garage in the first place. So now that we have the house built, we would like to build a garage, store our stuff, and yeah, it's the properties the garage and the house will be facing each other. And I went this route because I asked for advice from the assistant planner at Red River whether I go this route or I go with the amalgamation of both properties. And this was the direction that I was pointed into, maybe a quicker, easier, faster proposal.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to, I don't have anybody else on my list here, but I am going to ask in a moment. But does council have any questions? Because I do have one. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So just for clarity then, the intent is for you to keep these two lots. You're just building the garage on the other lot because of room.
Yes. Yeah. Our intention is to never sell any of the lots. It's just, it's a family cabin and we trade it in now.
Okay, I guess I'm looking at a drawing here, and it shows Thomas Cove between those two lots.
No. There's the 101, and then we're between Thomas Cove and I forget what the other street name is there.
Well, there's Birch Grove Street I can see. So I'm not sure where this.
What's the roll number on this, or the address?
37146 is the address.
And I have also 37142.
And that's where the cottage is.
Oh,
On
okay,
142.
37142, because I think somewhere it says that you have 37150, which is across Thomas Cove. That's where I was confused.
So this isn't in Thomas Cove, then, is it?
It's at the corner of Thomas Cove and Road 101.
Okay. Is that, this is up on the hill then, is it?
No, it's at the bottom of the hill.
Okay, by the lighthouse there?
That's mine.
Oh, okay. It looks really this
So
way.
it's those two together.
Yes, sir.
So it's these two lots right here. This one
Yeah,
and this one.
Yes, sir.
okay. But if you look at, okay, that's fine. I see where I was looking and it wasn't quite the correct spot. Go ahead, Councillor Boulanger, and then Councillor Sutherland.
Was it ever suggested to you, or did you ever have a plan or a thought of amalgamating both lots just to create one big lot?
Yes, I was either gonna go that way or the way that I'm going now, and I asked the assistant planner, Alvin at River Planning, which would be my best way of approaching this, and this was the way that was advised to me to move forward with that. But if it doesn't work with what we're doing, then that would be my next step.
I mean, I just envisioned it as one big piece of property and you being able to do,
Yeah.
yeah. It's, okay.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Sutherland. I think you had your hand up
Yeah,
also.
but you mentioned there's no access to that lot where the garage is gonna be.
Yes.
Why is there an access off of Thomas Cove there when I'm looking at this plan?
Okay.
Why couldn't you put a driveway, like to have access to that lot off Thomas Cove?
I could, but I thought my access would have to be off of mile 101.
Well, I don't know, I think you could make, it would be restricted to putting a driveway off Thomas.
It would be much easier off of Thomas Cove.
So, yeah, it's not, as you said, landlocked, I'm gonna say, you can't. Okay, that's where I was kind of confused here, but you have no intentions of, like it's subdividing, it's already split now, but selling that off where the garage is.
No, that's our family cottage, and both lots are, and our intentions is to keep it like that way.
Yours is that kind of a two-story.
The tall red and white and black one.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, okay, now I know exactly where.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Far be it from me, because I'm not a planner, I think amalgamating the lots would have been a better idea myself.
Ms. who can answer this.
This one was done in-house at the planning board level. I would have to check our files that Kayla would have with us if there was comments from Public Works. I do agree with what the council's talking about as the consolidation of the two lots. I think the way the planner was going though is it would be difficult to get them separated again if that was the case. I think that's what, you know, that you could sell them separately at a later date. It would be difficult to then re-subdivide. Is the way I think the planner was
That's
thinking.
exactly the reason why I would like them consolidated.
Yeah.
So we're not having,
Little lots.
I know what you're saying right now, I'm just saying generally, we're not having a situation where we have a lot with a garage on it that could be sold. Because that's where this is ending up.
So is this done by the RM or the?
No, this was done by the planning district.
Like, I guess the only thing we can do is not give them approval for an access. That's the only thing that we're gonna have left.
Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
I don't know if you picked me up on this one. I find it difficult that the planning board would actually say that because we're not allowed to put a secondary, a building up with a primary residence. And if you consolidate them, then it's all one, and you don't even have to come to us.
I understand completely. Yeah, it's my first.
Like I said, I don't know why they would even suggest that.
Go ahead, Councillor Belanger.
If I can ask the applicant if he's in any hurry or pressed for time to get this done, just first, that's my first question.
Okay. Actually, we've been on that property for three years now, and every time we go out there, we tow something, and it's getting old, and I would just like a place to maybe a toy box, and I would add if council would like to add a condition that there's no other structures built on that property unless the garage is torn down or something, then I would be fine with that.
I'm going in more of the direction of holding this back for now, putting it on hold, and make sure that the applicant is actually getting what he really truly wants. He was given direction from planning, and he asked them for advice, and he got advice, and he went in that direction. The sense I'm getting is, and I don't know, I'm just asking this question, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here. It just sounds like you would kind of prefer having one big lot, and I just want to make sure he's getting what he deserves as a ratepayer. That if we put this on hold for now and revisit it, that he actually gets what he wants. I'm just trying to assist you.
Yeah, I understand completely.
But if you want to move forward, we move forward. I'm just throwing
That's
that
the
out.
direction I would like to go in, but also, at this point, I've spent all this money on applications for variance, and to go in the direction of amalgamating the lots would just double my costs for what I'm trying to achieve.
And is that what it is? It's double the cost? I'm not familiar with the fees, but I'm asking you, is that what you were told? It was double the, oh, sorry, Madam Planner, would that be? If he was to amalgamate lots, is it more expensive to go that route than to do what he's doing today?
You mean what, to consolidate?
Yeah, if
two
he was to
lots?
apply to if he would have applied to consolidate the lots, is the fee more for him to do that?
That's full-time subdivision as a consolidation, yeah, it's much more.
And he would lose the money he put in already because he's reapplied.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the double comes in.
Right.
The only other thing.
What I'm
that-
suggesting though, Councillor Borges, is that if he did change his mind, I would respectfully be asking and pursuing that he's refunded for the first application if he moves forward with the second.
I'm okay with that. The only thing that I'm not okay with is now he's gonna wait another 2 months, and he probably wants to build this year, because, you know, and because of some, I don't know. Poor advice or whatever.
And that's why I asked what his timeline was, because I was concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he wants to get building.
Yes, we're ready.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
He needs a variation anyway. He wants to go 15 feet from the front yard, and the setback is 30.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and he's going just over the unit area size too. So regardless, he needs a variation.
Sue, I saw you had your hand up. Do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, he did mention about restricting the lot. I mean, you could do that with a development agreement, and it could state that it's restricted that way. I don't know that that's really fair to restrict the lot in somebody.
I'm not sure you can do a development agreement to do that type of restriction legally.
But I believe there is a number of ways to consolidate lots. In some cases, you can just go to land titles and consolidate them if they're under the same plan, which is very inexpensive, like $100. Also, assessment will look at it too. Sometimes we've been able to consolidate lots through assessment. If they're within the same owner, they have to check that out. But there has been that, and that doesn't cost anything.
So could you make that part of the development agreement, that we could give him his variance today, so that he could go ahead and build, but then he would have to look after this going forward?
I believe on the building permit, we can address conditions on a building permit. You could do that way. If you put it in a development agreement, it would restrict the lot forever.
I think the bigger question, what does the planner think this planning report of this? Because planning didn't say reject the requested variance, right? Planning recommended a condition of approval, so planning saw this as required, although there's been some things brought up by council that in the past planning has said no to accessory structure without a principal dwelling on a lot.
It is written in your bylaw, it's written.
Yeah.
That's why it's been written there. We've been even talking about something like maybe to put some timelines about the permit of the primarily dwelling here, or like to add a condition that it's not going to be habitable, the garage, I mean, that it will be just the garage. So we kind of thought about that, but we left it to you to decide. Because for now, there's two lots, and they're tiny, and everything that will, in some future, will be, we cannot foresee. So for now, this is the situation, and this is your tough decision to go through. But our recommendation, we haven't, fully discussed our recommendations here. We're not supposed to right now, we understood. So, yeah, that's our call.
Okay, any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Question for administration. So, the application is to vary the front yard, vary the site, maximum site area, and allow the accessory building without a principal dwelling. Is there a possibility that we can add another stipulation that says something to the effect of farm administration to work with the applicant to amalgamate the lots? Would that be appropriate?
If the applicant is wanting to amalgamate, if the applicant says that it's costing too much money, how do we work with it?
No, but I think we just heard there's two other options. You can go to land titles, or you can go to assessment.
Are we 100% sure that those titles, those costs are not borne by the applicant, and they would accommodate this?
Yes, I've done it through assessment. That didn't cost any fees. Land titles, there is a small charge for it. I don't believe it's more than $100 to consolidate titles.
Does the applicant prepare to consolidate titles?
Absolutely.
So if the applicant is prepared to consolidate titles, the planner doesn't have an issue with that?
Still, we have 15 feet instead of 30.
Yeah, you still need.
No, the variance will
Yeah,
still
we
be
still need the
required.
variance,
So what
yeah.
they're saying is that the variance is approved with a condition saying the applicant is required to consolidate titles as an additional condition. And that consolidation will occur through the assessment or land titles.
How do you think it will help to decide for it right now? That's not the case right now.
Yeah, well,
I
we're
understand,
making
but
it
that's
a
a
condition.
requirement,
Oh, you
a
mean it's a
condition.
conditional?
Yes,
Sure, you
yes.
can put it as a condition. Yeah, I think it will be much helpful for any future development of that land.
Is that
According to the
principle-
setbacks, to the,
No, then it wouldn't hold up the applicant.
No,
You could say
so he
within,
could build it.
you could say
That's what I'm worried about.
within the next
You know.
12 months.
Thank you.
So you give the applicant the time to begin construction because he's received the variance approval and they've got 12 months to consolidate. If they don't, then the variance is no longer valid and then we'll be coming back here anyways.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but
I'm-
saying that the
I'm
administration,
trying to
I understand what
Make
you're
it
trying.
all work,
Yeah.
right? That's
Okay, so
what
we have
I'm-
one additional condition that I can read off, which is the applicant is required to consolidate the two parcels into one parcel within 12 months. Are you prepared for that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to see, I don't believe that there is, but I am going to ask if there's anybody else in the audience who wants to speak on this application. So if you want to come forward and state your name for the record, please.
So I'm Fred Register. I'm Susan Peters, and I'm at 521 Birchville. So,
She was late on the phone.
That's fine.
I am happy to hear that the properties will be amalgamated. I think that solves some of the concerns that I had. And I would still prefer that they build to the size permitted in the zoning and to the front yard setback that is permitted in the zone. It's it's going to be a large workshop, and David and Tracy have a lot that they want to.
Do you want to speak to the chair, please? You can speak to your neighbor after.
Sorry. I understand that they have a lot that they want to put in there, but I would prefer that it be smaller. It's over 800 square feet for a workshop. That's pretty sizable.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's.
You're just concerned with the size of the building then?
I was concerned with the possibility of subdividing the lots and in the future, so when, for whatever reason, when David and Tracy decide to sell in 20 years' time. I was concerned about that, but I think that you have worked to resolve that.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this application? Okay, do you have anything that you want to add at this point in time?
Yes. 864 square feet is a 3-car garage, and 800 square feet is a 2.5-car garage.
Okay, so what you're proposing is like a 3-car garage?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, if anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak on this application? Not seeing any hands being raised, so if council is ready to deal with it, I will ask for a resolution to come out of the variation board, please.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 45/2025 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Now, move it, please. Council Gazaroa, Council Strang seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, if we want to move this one forward, I would ask for the resolution for the variation order, please.
Whereas the applicant owner tax roll number 700-305 legally described as lot plan 25066 and located at 37146 Road 101 North has made application for variation order number 45 of 2025 from front yard setback 30 feet to front yard setback 15 feet. Excuse me. From accessory unit area 800 square feet to accessory unit area 864 square feet. From accessory building prior to principal dwelling to accessory building without a principal dwelling. Purpose to reduce the front yard setback to increase the accessory unit area and to allow for an accessory building to be constructed on the subject property prior to a principal dwelling. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order 45 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. 1, the variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions would require a new variance approval. 2, the applicant owner obtains all required permits from the Riverville Planning District and the municipality if required. 3, applicant owner consolidate the 2 properties into one within 12 months. And I think there was one other point that the planner made about the property not be used as habitable space. Does council want to do that?
Yes, we normally have to do that in.
For anything that gets larger than what's allowed, yes. So, and the accessory structure not be used for habitable space. And then finally, approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of date of begin. They just want to make sure if the applicant understands clearly what the council means as habitable space, which means no bathrooms and kitchens and so forth. And bedrooms, yes.
Okay, the resolution has been read. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Corbis, second Councillor Boulanger. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, moving on to our next item on our agenda, which is variation order 46 of 2025, and I'm going to turn it over to the planner for report, please. Oh, we have to go into public hearing first, sorry.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned and the public hearing be open for variation order 46 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Rose, Councillor Strang, second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now Valentina, you can go ahead. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you so much for your Okay, so this is a variance application bill 46/2025, located on 675 Shaw Path. And the purpose of that application is to increase the unit area and height for an accessory building to be constructed on the subject property in GB General Development Zone. For zoning law of San Clemente, an accessory building unit area is supposed to be 1,200 square feet. They proposed 1,600. And accessory building height is supposed to be 15 feet, and they proposed 17 feet. Here we can see the location map of the subject property and the site plan of proposed garage. And conditions for approval. Should council wish to approve this application, the RPD recommends the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require a new variance approval. And by applicant to obtain all required permits for RPD and municipality 2, if required. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions from council to the planner? Is the applicant in the audience this evening?
Yeah. I am, sir.
Hello.
Hi there, how are you?
Good.
Good. Okay, anything that you want to add to your application?
No, I mean, it's all in the overhead there. We have 4 kids. 2 of them are driving already, and dad's responsibility to make sure cars start in the winter and stuff, so partially looking for the present, and then the future would be an RV and hobby space for mostly for myself, I guess I would say. But,
Okay, any questions for the applicant? From planner, from council, I should say. Okay, if there's nothing else, I may or may not ask you to come forward again. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on this application? receive one letter of support that all members of council have in their dockets. And if council is ready to deal with it, I will ask for the resolution to come forward, please.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 46 of 2025 be closed in the regular session of council will reconvene.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Vazzarolo seconds, all in favor, opposed, carried. And variation resolution.
So whereas applicant owner of tax loan number 60186 legally described as lot 1, plan 63164, located at 675 Shalom Path, has made application for variation order 46 of 2025 from accessory unit area 1200 to accessory unit area 1600, from accessory height to 15 feet to accessory height 17 feet, purpose to increase the unit area and height in order to allow an accessory building to be constructed on the subject property. Therefore, be a resolved variation order 46 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. 1, the variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacements, or additions will require new variance approval. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from Red River Pine District and the municipality if required. And does council want to make the same, the accessory structure will not be used for habitable space. And finally, approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of date of making.
Okay, everybody's got that we're gonna add the third condition in about the habitable space?
Yep.
Okay, so, moving it forward, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, seconder, Councillor Strang, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, variation order 49 of 2025, if we can move into the variation board, please.
Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned, a public hearing be opened for variation order 49 of 2025.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, second, please. Councillor Vazzarowicz, all in favor, opposed, carried. And I'll turn it over to Valentina to walk us through this one, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a variance application BO 49/2025, located on 46 Concord Road. And the purpose of the application is to increase unit area for an accessory building to be constructed on the subject property in AR agricultural residential zone. So zoning bylaw and all the Centermass unit area is supposed to be 1,280 square feet, and they're proposing 2,992 square feet. And this is a subject property allocation map. And the applicant is site plan with a proposed garage on it and kind of more details under. And conditions of approval. Should council wish to approve this application, the RPD recommends the following conditions. This variance is limited to what has been presented. Any other changes will require new variance approval. And applicant obtains all required permits from Red River Planning District and municipality if required. And applicant wanted to use the accessory building for the personal use only. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions to the planner? It's the applicant in the audience this evening. Do you have anything that you want to add to the application at this point?
Good evening. My name is Brad Bednar. I live at 46 Van Horn. Really like living in St. Clements. Very wonderful place. I see shops built all over the place, and they look like shops. I do not want it. It is a garage, but the garage should be built as an extension of the home. Should look like the home, so it looks like it belongs there. That's basically why originally I bought the home. Living on Van Horn Road, to have a nice car, it gets very dirty because you're on gravel, right? But the only thing I'd like to say is exactly that. I really believe that the garage should be an extension of the home with color roof lines, so on and so forth. Garage doors on the one gentleman before here said his toy box, it should match the home. So when you drive by it, you go, wow, it looks really nice, look at that, it matches. And I was looking at retiring down the road here very shortly. I have stuff I want to put inside. 3-car garage is not very much when you have riding mowers and cars, and you know, it's tough, right? So that was my thoughts on it. I wanted to make it a little bit different than what other people were doing. I probably got the idea there was a guy down CIL Road from me, at 552 on the north side. He built one. This was probably a little bigger, but that's where I thought, geez, this looks pretty nice. So that's how I ended up going that route, just to make it conform, make everything right. They also asked me, they gave me a call, asked me a whole bunch of questions. One question was, Brad, are you going to start a business?
Move all your trailers there.
Well, you know my business. Someone actually looked up Plummet Leasing.
I knew your dad.
Oh, you knew my father. Yeah. Yeah, Dad passed 4.5 years ago. I had a great run with my father, almost 40 years together. So, it's nice to know someone named my dad was quite a guy. So that's where we're at. I spoke to some neighbors, especially the one to the south side of me. And very nice guy, Bert's very nice man, him and his wife, Candace. And yeah, they were okay with it because it was sort of staying behind the back of our home. It wasn't going to go up front in any way. So it wouldn't be in anybody's way. And especially sight lines to the front. So I thought Dean did a good job getting it all drawn up that way. And yeah, that was about it.
Okay, questions? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So, forgive me, I have trouble seeing that really clearly. I guess I'm getting old. It looks, I'm just going to ask you this question. Sure. It looks like you're building in front of those couple of drainage ditches that are easements on your property. I guess that used to be train track before?
Yes, in the back there's a train track. The building is actually going to be in front of the bush.
Okay.
And then there's the drainage ditch in behind. I've taken some time to clean up that drainage ditch. I guess since I built the house in 2012 with dead tree fall and everything, nobody's taken the time to actually go in there. But if you lived there in the spring, this year was very dry. The year before it was very wet. The water's flooding up into my yard and the neighbor to the north. But I think a good part of that was because no one really cleaned it out at any time. So I sort of took it upon myself to start doing that.
Okay. So it won't affect the drainage?
No, it won't affect it at all.
That was my question. Thank you, sir.
Okay, anybody else have questions to the applicant? And again, I'm going to ask if there's anybody who wishes to speak on this application this evening.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll be kind of biased, I'm the builder, so. I'm very appreciative that Brad came in my office and asked me to build a building for him. He's seen some of the work that I've done in other municipalities, as well as I built a lot in this municipality as well. My name's Dean Malt, I'm from Weiser Buildings. I do a lot of ag, commercial, and residential buildings. So if you want anything built, give me a call. But my biggest thing is meeting my customers' needs, right? So if I can do something for them, meet their needs, then that's exactly what I'm looking for, right? So I'm looking for jobs that challenge us once in a while. So I'm tired of big ag buildings sometimes, but that seems to be my norm. But like I said, it's nice to do a building like this and blend it in. And I have a background that goes a long ways in building houses and everything else.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you to repeat your name because we are recording, and I didn't quite catch it, and I don't know how clear it will be on the recording.
My name is Dean Manault.
Manault?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, anyone else have any questions or comments? You can have a seat. I think council
Thank you very
will
much for your
probably
comments.
move this
Appreciate
forward.
it.
So if we can have a resolution, if there's nothing else from council or anybody in the audience, I will ask that we come out of variation board and then we'll move this one forward.
Resolve the public hearing for variation order 49 of 2025 be closed and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Bazarowicz, Councilor Strang seconds, all in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, and the resolution for the variation order.
Whereas the applicant owner tax roll number 311975 legally described as lots R, S, T, U with plan 52170 and located at 46 Van Road has made application for variation order number 49 of 2025 from accessory unit area 1,280 square feet to accessory unit area 2,992 square feet to increase the unit area in order to allow an accessory building to be constructed on subject property. Therefore, be a resolved variation order 49 of 2025 be approved with the following conditions. The variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement, or additions will require new variance approval. 2, applicant obtains all required permits from the Red River Planning District and the municipality if required. And 3, the applicant owner use the accessory building for personal use only. And then I don't think since it's attached, since this is attached to the house, we need to worry about habitable space. Is this attached?
Detached.
No, it's detached.
Okay, and then 4, the accessory building not to be used as habitable space. And approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months date of making.
Okay, Councilor Spicer, are you moving?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Sutherland. Any further discussion on this application? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think this is, we have a couple more applications, and the next one we have is a subdivision and a variation combined. So we will deal with the subdivision first, and it's file S253104. If we can walk through that one, please, Valentina.
For sure, Madam. So do you want me to do it separately or just read it all together?
We could do it all together, could we not?
We need to go.
No, because we have to move into variation order.
Yeah, we have to go into a public hearing for the variation
Yeah.
order, so what we'll do is go through the subdivision, and then council will wait and lay over their decision until the variance occurs.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. So this is a subdivision application, AS 253104, located on 88028 and 88034 Road on 45 East. And the purpose of that application is to adjust the boundaries between 2 existing lots, proposal number 2 and residual lot, and to create 1 additional lot, proposal number 1, in A80 agricultural general zone. Here we can see the subject properties and subdivision application map. We can see here that the proposed lot number 1 is placed right above the proposed number 2, now the residual. Okay, so the summary. Proposed lot number 1 and proposed lot number 2. As per zoning bylaws and it's supposed the required site area with this 8 acres and 300 feet for both of them, and they're proposing 5.66 acres and 352 feet for lot number 1 and 5.82 acres and 470 feet for proposal number 2. The residual lot is much bigger than that, so and as you can see, it comes in compliance to the zoning bylaw, but first 2 lots, proposed 1, are no for area and yes for the width according to compliance, and it will require future variance, that's the future variance. Our analysis of that application, our PD notes the following. Both proposed lots proposal number 1. Proposal number 2 will require variance for side area, and variance will be required for the setback of the existing shed between block lots. But number 4, the proposed subdivision does not comply with ADA agriculture general zone. This subdivision would be a second subdivision of the farmstead of 8 acres lot, previously 8 acres lot, which is not consistent also to the development plan of regular planning district. So RFD recommends the recommendations here that RFD recommends that the application will be rejected. However, if council wishes to decide to approve the application, RFD recommends the following conditions. Applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the municipality stating that taxes on the land to be subdivided for a here and any others will be paid, required vehicle fees will be paid, provided digital copy of the plan 2. Applicant owner obtains the required setback or removes the shed from the property, and also a lot size variance will be required. And a applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that an easement agreement has been entered into Manitoba Hydro to existing future facilities. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. I guess we can move into variation. Okay, bye. Sorry about that.
You need to open the public hearing before that?
Yeah. I do. Just losing track of all my windows on my screen, sorry. So variation order 32 of 2025. Resolved that the regular meeting be adjourned, a public hearing be opened for variation order 32 of 2025.
Okay, Kevin, move please. Councillor Strang, second please. Councillor Forbes, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, so now, can you walk us through the variation, please?
Mayor, well, so this is a variance application, PO 32/2025, located at the same property, 8028 and 18034 Road, 45 East. And the purpose of that variance is to reduce the side area of proposal number 1 and 2 as a condition of proposed subdivision as 253104 in a agriculture general zone. As per zoning bylaws and command side area requirements supposed to be 88 acres minimum, and the proposed lot number 1 proposes 5.66 and lot number 2 is 5.82 acres. It's the same location map and side areas indicated here. Conditions of approval. Should council wish to approve this application, the RFD recommends the following conditions. They are standard, the variance is limited to what is being presented, any other changes will require a new variance approval. Applicant owner obtains all required permit from RFD and municipality if required. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Any questions from council to the planner? Okay, and I see that Allison Dreger is back on with us. And what did you want to add to this application, Allison?
Hi there. So my name is Allison Dreger. I know we've been on earlier today. I am a land use planner, and I've been working with Jason Hofer from Greenwald Colony. Greenwald Colony has purchased the farmland for farmland purposes. We did a preliminary circulation of the subdivision application and sentencing prior to us even obtaining a subdivision application map that indicated that he thought the subdivision should work. So we proceeded with our subdivision application on that basis that they thought that it would be approved. We are creating, the policy says 1 lot per 80 acres. Our residual will still be over 80 acres. The colony was very careful when doing the subdivision to try and minimize the amount of land that was included with the dwelling, but they really have no use for the dwelling. So this hearing today is to vary the lot size to allow the residential dwelling to be on its own title. while we were doing the subdivision, it turns out that proposed lot 2's well was actually on proposed lot 1. So the colony has offered to move the lot line for proposed lot 2 so that the well will be on proposed lot 2, which is the kind of the boundary realignment between the Burkowskis and Greenwald Holding Company's property there. So the variation for lot 2 is to vary the lot because it doesn't meet the minimum 80-acre requirement, but proposed lot 2 will actually be getting larger in size, and the well will now be on proposed lot 2. Proposed lot 1 will be reduced from the 80-acre minimum to simply encompass the existing dwelling. So I think that's what I'll have to add to it.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions from members of council? Is there anything that you wanted to add to the application?
I can add a few things, if it's okay. Hopefully I'm not going to mess it up for Ellison.
If you just want to state your name for the record, please.
My name is Jason Hofer, and I live in Greenwald Colony. Our address is 88137 41E. I just want to acknowledge that we thank you as council members for taking this subdivision into consideration. There's a beautiful barn there, and there's houses there, and seeing them to go to waste would be a shame. We can utilize them because we live within the community, so we would love to subdivide it, and especially with the shortage of houses, to give someone the opportunity to potentially own that farmyard. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions to Mr. Hofer? No, I don't think so. Any questions to Allison? No. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we can move on to variation and deal with both of them, right?
Mr. President.
Subdivision.
Resolved that the public hearing for variation order 32 be closed, and the regular session of council be reconvened.
Madam Mover, please. Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Strand seconds, all in favor, opposed, that is carried. Okay, so I think the proper way is the subdivision first, and then we'll deal with the variation.
Correct. So, Red River subdivision, sorry. So, regarding subdivision application number S253104, proposal of Blue Stem Developments to subdivide legal subdivision 1, 2, and 3 of section 2815-80 PM, excluding out of said legal subdivision 1, the southerly 470 feet of the northerly 840 feet of the easterly 520 feet, and except out of all of the above land drain Plan 9935, Winnipeg land title subject to any subsisting reservations contained in the Crown Land Act. Resolved that council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. 1, applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from the municipality stating the taxes on the lands to be subdivided for the current year and any arrears have been paid. B, required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8 of 2023. C, provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision to the RMSA comments. 2, applicant owner obtains the required setback or moves the shed from the property and lot size variances from RPD. 3, applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that easement agreements have been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to existing and future facilities associated with the subdivision of the plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbus, second. Councillor Sutherland. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. And now we will do the variation order.
Whereas, we'll go with the same legal description that was already read out there. From site area 80 acres to site area proposed lots 1, 566 acres, Proposed lot 2, 5.82 acres, purpose to reduce the site area. Proposed lots 1 and 2 as a result of subdivision application S25-3104 to bring into compliance in the A80 agricultural general zone. Therefore, be it resolved, variation order 32 of 2025, we approve the following conditions. 1, this variance is limited to what has been presented in this application. Any further changes, replacement of additions required a new variance approval. Excuse me. 2, applicant owner obtains all required permits from the relevant planning district and municipality if required. Approval shall expire if not acted upon within 12 months of date of issuance.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Corbis, second. Councillor Sutherland. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So the shed, I'm assuming it's being moved because it's not in the variation resolution? I guess that's a question to the owner.
I can add.
Go ahead, Allison.
Oh, sorry, I can answer that one. There was a shed there, and at the time of the subdivision application map, it was winter, and the shed is kind of dilapidated, but it was frozen into the ground, so we couldn't get the shed off, but the shed will be removed, yes.
Thank you.
And also, if I can add, we put it as a condition to the subdivision. So it's, until it's done, the subdivision is not approved. So this is one of the conditions of the subdivision to be approved finally. So
For final approval.
yeah.
Okay, anything else? I have a mover, I have a seconder, and if there is nothing else, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we have one more planning item on our agendas tonight, and it's number 15 on our agenda, subdivision 25 of 3097, and there is no public hearing for this one. So Valentina, if you want to bring this one forward, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sure. So this is subdivision application is 25-3097, located on 39081 Road E North. And purpose of that application is to create one additional lot from 39.91 acre lot in RT, recreational tourism zone. This is an area location map. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
okay. I hope we're good for that. Yeah. Application map.
It's being recorded.
Yeah. Okay. Here we can see an application subdivision map with a residual and proposed lot on it, and a summary of proposed lots. Proposed lot number 1 supposed to be, as per zoning bylaws and comments, required site area and with a 1.38 acres and 200 feet, and proposed site area that they're proposing is 11 acres and 207.33 feet. Residual lot also comes in compliance. We have no exact measurements proposed because they're too big. And both of them are coming into compliance to the zoning bylaw. They're big enough to be proposed. Our analysis for that application, our RPD notes the following. The proposed subdivision is within RT recreational tourism zone and adheres to the supplemental zoning bylaw by the minimum site area and site width. The proposal is not consistent, though, with the Red River Planning District development, and adjustment as it's in flood hazardous area. MTI Water Management also flagged the proposed subdivision as being potential flood risk. And if you remember, we tabled it from their previous meeting. So our review recommends that the application be rejected because of the flood area, as I explained it through in the previous also in public hearing. However, if council decides to approve this application, our review recommends the following conditions. Applicant owner submits confirmation in writing from municipality stating that taxes on land been paid, required applicable fees been paid, provide a digital copy of the plan. Applicant owner enters into development agreement with the RAM of supplements to address items included but not limited to if required and public transportation and infrastructure comments are a flood protection level. The applicant owner prepares a drainage plan to be submitted to RM. Second is for review and acceptance, applicant owner to provide letter of credit to municipality if required prior to drainage constructions and amount to be determined. And applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that easement agreement has been entered. Also, applicant owner submits written confirmation from Bell MTS that an easement agreement has been entered. And applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure Water Management for geotechnical study completed by an engineer to the satisfaction to be completed. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that I have here.
Thank you for that. Any questions to the planner? Council ready to deal with this application this evening?
Question?
Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember why we tabled it the first time. Was it to ask the applicant what his intentions were with the property? I see that he indicated in the notes here in his file that he would be applying for a septic field. I'm only assuming because he wants to build a residence. And I don't know where on the property that he wants to build it. Is he going to build on the high portion? Is he going to build it in the... I thought that's why we tabled it, but does anybody else know where?
Anybody else have any? Go ahead, Kayla.
I believe you also tabled it because of the culvert replacement. You had questions about that, and we're requesting LiDAR based on the flood levels, which was included in the revised package.
Yes, I saw the LiDAR.
I think the big thing was the flood levels, I think that's
Yeah.
why.
That was the main reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the wish? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Am I wrong? Is there not an existing yard here? That's what I think I'm looking at.
Yeah, there is.
On the narrow piece,
Yeah.
I'm looking to see who the owner is.
If I can show it right here, we have a water body.
Mariah Creek, yeah.
Oh, is that Mariah Creek there?
I believe
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. So you wanted to check if there are elevation levels or.
They call it creek in the run.
I know.
I mean, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
during a rain event, an extreme rain event, or during spring,
Yeah.
I think that land does have some water issues, but it's not all the time. And I think Councillor Sutherland would be, or Councillor Purvis would know as well. That area, it's just from working out there that it depends on the year and how much water is coming through the area.
Yeah, it looks pretty blue on the line.
It does.
Yeah, it looks scary.
It's bad in the spring.
Would you have a septic field there?
But there was problems with that culvert there too, because I think the last time we talked about it, that culvert was up through the road or something.
It's not
Thank you. It's unfortunate that the applicant isn't here so we can ask some particular questions, because I would love to know what he plans on doing.
If the applicant can't speak, because it's not a public hearing.
Oh,
They could have wrote it.
could have wrote a letter or something.
Just to give us the attention.
Madam Mayor, if I can add.
Yes, go ahead.
Seventh condition, that we've got here, that applicant submits written information from the Transportation Infrastructure Water Management of geotechnical study. They would have to go through the thorough study what will gonna happen there accordingly to geotech. So before it will be approved, they're supposed to go and see if the engineer will limit it or will write it as it's possible or it's potentially super flooded area and it's not habited. They will address it if you wish to approve that at some point. They will have to deal with that. And it might be not approved. You see, it might fall right there. So it's just for your consideration.
He has that opportunity.
So if we approve it tonight, then he needs to get his geotech and everything before it goes to planning for final approval? Is that what I heard?
No, it will go to final approval, and if it will be approved, then they will have 2 years to go through all the conditions
Okay.
and to satisfy those. even if all beside that will be satisfied, it will not be approved if the engineer will say no.
Geotech report.
A geotech report will say
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Go ahead, Counselor Spicer.
I think condition number 2 also kind of addresses that as well as 3,
Yeah, kind of.
because they're gonna have to build to the front flood protection level if he's building something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at this LiDAR, it doesn't look to be much of a flood protection level there.
I'll have to haul in and fill
Well,
before
yeah.
Would
But
they
they
have that option to hold it?
I guess.
You can't put
Oh,
it in
yeah.
a septic field after you've brought it filled, you'd have to go into a tank.
They've got, they have to lock it.
To build it up?
You could, but I think the building above flood level will require a significant amount of fill. Stilts might be cheaper.
Go ahead, Counselor Boulanger.
Looking at the drawing, is he planning, or is the applicant planning on using the existing yard site to get to the back? Because the proposed lot's in the back. And I can't tell how the plan is to get back there. Is it, can you
I
use
think
it?
it's long and skinny, that's all part of it.
So is the driveway going to the side of the existing driveway, or to get to the back?
I think if you bring up the map, it includes the yard site and goes way, like it's that whole side.
Yeah, kind of. Not the inside that. You can see it right here. That's the details
Oh, yeah, okay.
here.
Well, what is the wish?
Let's deal with it.
Yep.
Regarding subdivision application S 253097 proposed. Proposal of McDougal to subdivide lot 5, plan 19379. Resolve the council approve the said application subject to the following conditions. 1, applicant submits confirmation ready from the municipality stating that taxes and lands to be subdivided for the current year and the years have been paid. The required applicable fees to be paid as per bylaw 8 of 2023 and provide a digital copy of the plan of subdivision of the RMC comments. 2, applicant owner enters into a development agreement with the RMC comments to address items including but not limited to, if required, Manitoba transportation infrastructure comments regarding flood protection level. Number 3, applicant owner prepare a drainage plan to be submitted to the RMC comments to review and acceptance as per the servicing standards of the municipality. 4, applicant owner to provide a letter of credit to the municipality if required prior to the drainage construction, amount to be determined. 5, applicant owner submits when written confirmation from Manitoba Hydro that an easement agreement has been entered into with Manitoba Hydro with respect to the existing and future facilities associated with the subdivision of the plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided. 6, applicant owner submits written confirmation with Bell MTS that the easement agreement has been entered into with Bell MTS with respect to existing and or future facilities associated with the subdivision of the plan of easement as required by the Real Property Act has been provided. 7, applicant owner submits written confirmation from Manitoba Transportation Infrastructure Water Management for geotechnical study completed by an engineer to the satisfaction of Manitoba Water Management to be completed. That's it.
That's it? Okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Corbis, second, please. Counselor Sutherland. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Counselor Bazarovich.
Yeah, it wasn't us, this happened years and years and years ago. We had to deal with it, there's almost that the bush movement here. There was a subdivision in the south end that was built purely on a new map. And I'm just wondering if this is gonna open that up again. something like that. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The person built it didn't fill it in, and
Yeah.
then they tried to sue us saying that
Yeah,
you let me build
yeah,
it.
you let me build there.
I need to see that happen.
Yeah, go ahead, Counselor Spicer.
I guess the challenge I'm having is we don't know what the intent is.
Well, that's.
Exactly.
He might be, or she might be just taking 11 acres off and living in the yard site the way it is right now, and selling the other piece for farm purposes or weddings,
Then they should have told us that.
or whatever. Right? Like, we don't know that there's anything gonna get built here.
Yep, so let's move it along.
And I guess with that, they would have to apply for a permit anyway, and then at that time we tell them the other
Sorry, if I
one.
can still add something. I have actually some kind of sort of intent letter inside of application. We want to separate portion of the land that has residence on for the future sale, leaving proposed land vacant for the future considerations.
Would have been nice to have in the package.
Yeah.
Regardless, you have to do a lot grade.
Yeah.
And whoever's doing the lot grade, they're not gonna let you put the house in a hole. That's
Well, then,
Saves you basement digging.
we're saying it's gotta be flood level, so.
Yeah, when you're doing the lot grade, it's our responsibility to do that proper lot grade, so.
Once you build a house from pool.
Well, yeah.
Or you're building on stilts.
Okay, I think I have a mover and a seconder. Any further discussion? I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay.
Did we get 3-3?
No.
4-3.
4-3.
Was it 4-3? Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3.
Okay. I thought I saw 3-3 with a 1 absent for abstaining.
No, because the day just goes like this.
Can we read both?
So that is carried. Okay, we are done the planning for this evening. And,
Need to go to in-camera.
yeah, Valentina will take a couple minutes to get together there, and we will be moving in camera.
Resolved, council recess the regular meeting, go to in-camera, discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be resolved. All matters are discussed and remain confidential as per section 83(1)D of the municipal act.
Moved by Councillor Bazarovic, second Councillor Corbus, all in favor, opposed, and that is carried. I guess we'll take two.
Recording stopped.
Moving.